Hey all, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this particular test centre video, I'll be having a look at Black Panther. This has been requested by Kendo on YouTube. Now, one of the things that Kendo mentioned he was worried about was the Agile Warrior build and the movement changes. He was kind of concerned that that build may no longer be viable. Now, I've had a quick look at the talents, and it does look like most of the parts of Agile Warrior you can actually restore back into the kit. So I'm not an expert on Black Panther, so what I'll by and large do is just really cover the tooltips, and you guys can kind of make up your mind whether or not the build will still be viable. In regards to these actual skills, they look to be all the same. I don't see any new ones, so this should be a nice easy video, which I'm not going to complain about, because you can possibly hear my voice in the last few days is getting worse because I have some kind of viral infection. Well, I'll get through as many videos as I can tonight, but I don't think I'll be doing 10 like I done the first day, maybe 3 or 4, and then I'll call it a night. But let's look at the first section anyway, which is Skilled Fighter. Okay, the first skill we look at here is Fan of Knives. This is just your standard trash cleaning ranged attack, and it's spammable. And next up we have Jungle Snare. That's providing your vulnerability, and it now says it's a maximum of 2 areas. I'm not sure if that is a change. I've got suspicion it may be, not 100% sure. You can let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect there. And next up we have Envenenating Slash. This is your basic melee attack. This, I believe, is the attack that the Agile Warrior build uses, and once we look at talents we can see that portions of the specialisation are thankfully restored. Now, next up we have Triple Throw, which is your basic ranged attack, doing bonus damage versus chilled enemies. And then we have Slashing Lunge. That has the standard 4-second cooldown and 3 charges. Following on from that we have Cryo Dagger with its 2-second freeze and also a slow. And next up we have Siphon Sweep. That provides your weaken. And then we have Vibranium Trap, throws out a bomb with a 1-second timer. And then moving on we have Mobile Minefield. This will throw out one mine and then it splits into lots of other ones that will go off if the enemy runs over them. And finally for this tree we have Evasive Throw. So when you do this it will actually stun the enemy as well. So all very simple there. Let's now have a look at Ritual Warrior. So this tree has some claw attacks, his signature, also some buffs and a few movement attacks as well, so it's really a mixed bag of skills. The first one we look at is Claw Slash. That's your basic melee attack, and that has critical hit and brutal strike damage of 50%. And following on from that we have Stealthy Escape. So you have your 4-second cooldown and 3 charges there. So for players that potentially feel they maybe have an extra space on the bar, if they do wish, they could use Stealthy Escape along with Slashing Lunge to provide them with a bit more damage. I don't know how efficient it would be, but the option is certainly there. And next up we have Knockdown Sweep. So this is 100% bonus damage while stealthed or invisible or within 2 seconds of breaking stealth. So that would tie into Stealthy Escape there. And we then have Predator's Frenzy, and this does bonus damage against bleeding targets. That's your kind of main melee spender there. And next up we have Panther Leap, and that's doing a stun. And we then have Unseen Predator, applying the concealed buff. It's given crit hit rating, the buff is 8 seconds, cooldown 30. And then we have Savage Strike, so that's doing a bleed, 8-second duration on that bleed. And then finally we have Wrath of Bast, which is your signature. I don't believe that's changed at all there. So let's now have a look at talents and traits. Now with this section there is no special resource, so at the top we've just got the 2 options, which is the offensive and defensive trait. So the offensive trait is Panther Grace. That's critical hit damage 25%. The archetype is Scrapper, which is giving you bonus damage to the fighting and speed attributes. And then we have Panther Soul for the defensive trait. That's maximum health. The archetype is Nimble, and multiplier is for deflect and dodge, and you also have the 8-second damage reduction when you hit with a melee power. Now for the first talent line we have Focused Throws, so triple throw deals 50% more damage and costs spirit, so that would be, let's see, this skill here. And next up we have In for the Kill, so Predator's Frenzy gains the following effects: attack speed 20% when attacking bleeding enemies, spirit cost goes down by 25%. And then finally we have Focused Strikes, so Inveterating Slash deals 25% more damage and costs spirit. That would be this one here. I believe that may put it into the same place it was before with Agile Warrior. For talent line number 2 we have Reaping Fangs, so when you use Cryo Dagger, your next fan of knives within 6 seconds will brutally strike. You're also getting the damage bonus of 10% for range powers there, so I believe that possibly would be restoring some of the skills that were in the range spec for Black Panther on live as well, and some of the other talents should do that. Now next up we have Resonant Blades, so Ineverating Slash, I mean every time I've said this I've said it differently, so excuse me. It stacks up to 5 times. Now that is definitely the same as the Agile Warrior specialisation, and Siphon Sweep applies 1 stack of Inveterating Slash's effect. Slashing Lunge consumes Inveterating, I'm just going to call it Slash now, okay? Apologies, I told you at the start I wasn't feeling too well. Stacks to deal additional damage. Restore all of Slashing Lunge's charges when you use it on a target with 5 stacks of Slash's effect. So that definitely takes that back to the same place it was for the Agile Warrior build there. You're gaining a bit of mobility, thankfully. And then finally for this tree we have Pouncing Predator. So Panther Leap gains the following effect: damage 100%, becomes an execute, and it gets an 8-second cooldown. And that would be this particular skill here. For talent line number 3 we have Wakandan Will, so Unseen Predator automatically activates when you fall below 30 health. Unseen Predator's this skill here of course, and with this Unseen Predator gains a 10% brutal strike chance, 100% spirit cost reduction, and also health in the hit. I do like that. Anything that can save space on the hotbar which then gives us room for another skill, I'm a massive fan of talents such as that. Now next up in this line we have Resilient Hunter, so while Unseen Predator is active, Cryo Dagger hits the main target an additional time, and Triple Throw throws an additional dagger. So with this you also have Unseen Predator healing of 7,300 health. And then finally in this line we have Prowling Predator, so this is the Agile Warrior build side of things again. Vibranium Trap gains damage, gains a cooldown. Unseen Predator gains the following effects: damage resistance, and also Slashing Lunge and Vibranium Trap gain 100% critical hit chance while that's active there. For talent line number 4 we start off with Patient Hunter, so Jungle Snare becomes ranged, and Jungle Snare damage goes up by 25%. The damage over time portion is removed from Savage Strike. And then we have Blood of Blades, so Knockdown Sweep, which is this skill here, and that one deals 150% more damage to bleeding enemies, triggering a 4-second cooldown. And then Close Combat Mines, Mobile Minefield becomes melee and deals 350% more damage over a 1-second duration. That I'm certain is again the same as the Agile Warrior tree on live. For the 5th and final line we have Indomitable Doras. So with this, when you hit with a power, summon a pair of loyal Wakandan bodyguards to fight alongside you. So this is saving more bar space once again, and the damage is actually based on Black Panther's offensive stats rather than summoned ally damage, so that's fantastic. And we then have Solitary Hunter, so you cannot summon the Dora Milaje, however you gain a passive effect of Deflect Rating Multiplier and Dodge Rating Multiplier, and also 5% damage. And then finally we have Pride of Wakanda, so when you activate Wrath of Bast, summon a pair of loyal Wakandan bodyguards to fight alongside you, and they'll come in and do a set amount of damage for 13 seconds there, so it's a little extra damage boost on top of your signature. So I hope this video was useful. I do realise I didn't go too in depth with anything, just the reason being I don't have a massive amount of experience with Black Panther. If there are any questions or anything like that, please leave them out in the comments, because what I can of course do, I'm happy to log back in and double check any tool tips or combinations of skills if any of you guys need me to do that. So as I say, I hope the video was useful. If you did find it useful and you're not already subscribed, please do so, because I'm getting these videos out at a regular rate, especially when I'm feeling a lot better than I am at the moment. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.